Hello, this is Alekius, and welcome back to another episode of Automation Kiev Motors, picking up right where we left off with the start of the body styling and bodywork for our pony car. Looking at things I can morph. Do I want the straight fastback? Or something that looks like it has a little bit of a trunk? I think we'll go straight fastback. I don't really like the way the window curves when you cut it in, even a little bit. Well, it doesn't look like it's curving there. It's that last bit that it starts to. I could get away with something like that, so it has just a little bit of a lip. But the fastback is growing on me. Moderate door, no changes there. Give it as much front space as possible, but slope it back for the styling. Looks a little bit more like a muscle car that way, but it also looks ridiculous. Bring the bumper in, then find out. Looks a little bit like an 80s passenger car, but it's a fastback coupe instead. Paints. What to paint it? Trying to remember, what was my last car going to be? Ah, yes. So the pony, I think I'm going to keep red. Varying shades of red. I'm not a big fan of cherry red, but a muted red I can do. Out of curiosity. That's just decided me on something else. Go back to the paint. Do I want to make it black? Possibly white? Possibly yellow. Or just stick with the red. The red for now. We have bumpers we can do. I can't quite do that. Let's do plastic of the same red color. So it just changes the tone of it a little bit. We can change the hood color. I'm going to resist that for now. And we do have a trim slot. And that is the windows again. We want the weather stripping to have a particular color. Interesting. Hot dog stand. Let's see, from red. All kinds of interesting things with this one. Not sure I like it, but I'm going to go with it. And then the wheels are definitely going to be chromed, because we can. No miscellaneous paint slots. Headlights. Headlights. know what we did with the other one. I do want some of the like 70s, 80s styling. We'll do the chrome inserts. Oh no, kind of reminds me of 80s Mercedes. Sort of. Not really, but like for some reason that came to mind. Do we want to keep with the standard? We do want to do something fancy for the rear. Oh, to match the front. Excellent. You can see the trunk. Well, no. Won't look right. I do have to inset it. Not hitting the bumper. Alright, I like it. That and I don't want to take too much time doing this. Grills. We want to do something different. Squeeze it down just a tad. Not sure I like it. It's a little bit too aggressive. That kind of reminds me of a wow, it's angled funny. I can't rotate it that way, I don't think. Rotate, flip. There we go. That's a little better. Not sure that's the right styling, but I like it. It's not hideous, and that's what I'm aiming for. Get our gas cap. Ooh, do I want fancy handles? Do I want kind of simple? Basic. And then for the trunk. No, let's do this. We'll do this one. That'll be the trunk release. Get our mirrors. Right there, and we'll make them slightly bigger. Almost certain we're going to have a radio in this one, so we should stick a radial in there. There we go. Right on the edge so it doesn't interfere with the hood. It's all funny, but that's alright. Actually, I can probably fix that. Oh, no, I'm just rotating it around. A little bit better. Stick with that. And then we want the sport plate for this one. No bumper bar, no badge. Ooh, what looks like a 70s sports rim. Not an era of vehicles that I'm particularly familiar with. Kinda like it. Okay, I might go with that. Got the 80s look in there. And yeah, that's too complex, I think. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with this. Don't need anything miscellaneous. And into rear wheel drive. Want a manual, 4 gears, open. Then we're going to do radial, medium compound, 200 width with 575 diameter and 16-inch rims. Okay, that looks reasonable. We'll stick with the steel. Pony car, we don't want it ridiculously expensive. We will go with solid discs. And we will aim for the 60% bias. We'll get that in there closer to where we want it later. Cooling airflow, I think 65 was working a little bit better. Then we have 3+2, standard, basic AM, no power steering, it's relatively small. We'll go for standard 70s, standard, twin tube, gas. Ups the fun premium. Step out and pony. Gas mono. Alright, that's a pretty significant improvement. We'll go with that. Progressive is not going to be desirable. Hydropneumatic is going to be too expensive. So, comfort, normal, sport, utility. Oh, the utility didn't increase that much this time. We'll go with sport for now. Come back, we're going to want to adjust this. 1023, 1028. It's actually bringing down the 0 to 100, or 0 to 60. It's going to cause additional wheel spin though. I think I'm going to compromise and where does gear 2 spin? Get some in the 60s. If we bring it down to 60, it won't. And then if we limit it to 132 miles an hour, we get a good hop in value, probably because the tire changes. Yeah. Tire cost multiplier changes. A big drop in first to second, second to third, a little bit of a drop, Third to fourth is fine, but we're going 100 miles an hour plus, and it peaks right at the limit is right past the peak, which is ideal. So you shouldn't run into the limiter too much. We'll check lockers. Yeah, they're not going to want differential. 5 gear, too expensive. 3 gear, detriment. Don't want sports compound, too expensive. Hard long life is not fun. For 8. $575. Can I increase the diameter? Squeeze those tires into there. That because of the sportiness changing? No, sportiness is actually higher that way. The loss of prestige from smaller rims. And cost. So let's stay with 16-inch rims. Max out the tire size. Now let's shrink the fronts significantly. Offset them slightly. Bring them back up. Not going to mess with the brakes yet. Cooling airflow. A little bit of benefit going to 70. And the loss of our top speed, I think we can afford to do that. Interior, they're not going to want premium, too expensive. Sport, really too expensive. Basic is a drop. Do want some entertainment. Yeah, no surprise for the steering. Just not needed for this car. More expensive, slightly more engineering time, but I want to build some familiarity with the 70s. Or I messed with this some. Okay, so I can change the camber on the front tires pretty significantly. Go to 2 degrees on the back tires, and then I can bump the front tires up in size. More where I want it to be. Ah, right, and sportiness we want on the red line. Brain fart. Take off that offset. Back to suspension. And then put some negative camber on the front tire. Bring it up. Stop at 0.5. Adjust the spring rate. Check my notes, see what seemed to work. Which was indeed lower. Much lower in this case. 2.8 is fine. Dampers, I'm not even going to check my notes. They generally auto adjust to where they should be. Sway bars though. 118.7, 119, 119.1, 119.2. Use 800, that's 5-degree roll angle. I think I'll sacrifice that little bit for a little bit less roll, and we'll lift the vehicle, which they're liking. I think I'll bump it up again for that roll angle. 5 adults, just under 200 pounds each, be the maximum. That seems reasonable. And the sportiness is right at 100. Not as sporty as it can get. And that is right at the level that I had it at on my test run. Had a score of 120 even. But we haven't adjusted the pad type. Oh, more aggressive. How much is comfort? Let's... yeah, and anything above 60 is hurting it. So let's keep it there. Bump up the rear brakes. Bump up the front brakes, because they want to be able to brake easily. Drop it back down. Definitely more aggressively braked than my test run. Bit bigger in the front, bit smaller in the back. Just how it turned out this time. We don't have too much brake fade, just a little bit. Terminal steering is ideal. Do have wheel spin in first gear. We'll deal with that. Looks like a car somebody might drive to work and back, but deals with traffic pretty well. Whipping in and out like crazies. Take a look, see what automation Stig does. 230. Wow, that's actually really good. Here's how she's doing in the markets. We're expected to do fun premium, not surprising. Family sport, not surprising. It's a 5-seater. Does hit muscle, sport budget, sport, also not surprising. Do that there, and what did I decide to call this one? Kaczan, I think is how that's pronounced. And this one is the PY for pony. There we go. There's our PY model. Checking the spreadsheet for the demographics, we are expecting to sell about 700 of these. So probably need a medium, because we need the steel presses and we can't get that with these small. So medium 1, steel presses. And that's more than what we need. So that's perfect. Focus on quality. Maybe drop the automation some down to 35. Spend less, but it'll cost more. There's a reason I've been using 65. Doesn't cost too much. Doesn't cost much to upfront cost to make it. Ah, don't tell me you crashed. Alright, here we are, back. And didn't lose any progress. Looking at the engineering. Let's again look at, this is what I desire most, or what I think is reasonable, but we'll look at the time. Throw the funding, lay on the pressure, and we can do it in 70 months. Is 6 years ideal for a pony car? We could drop some of the rest of it, get it out a little bit sooner. $4,000. That's not right. $4,000. Medium 1. Yeah, cannot be produced. Needs to be a medium 1. Okay, 4,000 it is. Not gonna argue. That is way too much. This might be the first vehicle we lose money on. Well, in that case, I'm going to leave it at 6 years to make it as best as it can be. Gotta do the engine. 4,000, wow. Medium 2 with Forge Works. Medium 3 with Forge... oh, geez. I think we're going to do a large plot medium factory. And if we start for engines, we can do we can rework the factory and make it larger. Do the standard 65-65. Of course, we'll try to 65 across it. More funding, more pressure. Wow. Engine's complicated. It is a turbo. It is a dual overhead cam. It does have 4 valves. We're going to have to start at 50-50-50. We'll milk it for what experience we can afford to throw at it. Learn as much as we can so the next one won't be quite that atrocious. So guess it's good. It's going to take 6 years. Actually, engine project management. Oh, good. I adjusted the... I was worried about the exhaust system. Whether I necked it down or not. Go for 10 years. If we go for less. Yep, we're just going to leave things at 5. It seems to be working out rather well. Factories won't take too long. So there's our Kaczan. And on to the next car, which will be 223. This one. Very small coupe. We're gonna put it. We're gonna make it out of fiberglass, monocoque, corrosion-resistant steel, mid-mounted longitudinal engine. Double wishbone, double wishbone. And we'll bump up the quality 2 ticks. I'm gonna need a new engine. And actually, it is not going to be an inline 4. It's going to be a boxer 4. Made out of aluminum. Dual overhead cam. 4 valve. And the notes said it worked best at 78 bore, 73 stroke. Which puts it at a 1.4 liter. So it fits into the engine bay. That's why we had to do it, because the inline 4 is way too long. The boxer squeezes down. Oh yeah. Gotta remember, I want to hit the quality sliders on this one. Forged, lightweight, forged. Full size. Up the quality. Up the quality. Just 2 extra levels. And we want... That's right, we're going to wait on that one. And bump up the cam profile very aggressively. Gonna do injectors. No, carburetor. DCOE. Twin. Race intakes. Regular fuel. Gonna get the fuel mixture up there. One is also gonna aim for 8500. Or I forget. Long tubular, dual, max them out for now, none across the board. Alright, now, something I wanted to check. Bump that up. Yeah, that's a significant. First two, not too, well, actually that is quite a bit in engineering time. Might have to change my mind on this one. Ooh, it's just for the upper too. Makes such a huge difference. I think we'll do one take there. That one doesn't seem to matter much. Just a few months on the quality of the turbo. I'll leave it at 2. Fuel system, that's just a couple extra months. Exhaust, oh, that's nothing. Bump that all the way up to 5. Alright, now for the tweaking to begin. It's a twin turbo, journal, bearings, because we have nothing. It looks... It's a crazy setup, as you can see here. Plugged into the carburetors with the turbos off to the side, into the exhaust. So intake, intercooler, into the carburetor. We're forcing a carburetor, which means we're going to have to limit the maximum boost. And according to my tests, that's right at 10 psi. Now, things that I want to do is I want a maximum AR ratio, and we want to really squeeze this down a lot, because we're not looking for maximum power on this one. We're looking for a wider power band to boost the whole thing. That's because we're using a carburetor. Turbos and carburetors don't always mix that well. You can blow out the carburetor by over boosting it. We're trying to get as much power as we can in as wide a band as we can. Is this going to be a minimum size turbine? Yes. Bring the compressor down. $31 is the minimum. Kind of curious. Well, that's about right. My test run, I had it a little bit bigger than this, but minimum size turbine for this one. You got the intercooler dialed in. Now we can start boosting the compression ratio. Yeah, and this is what I was finding out, is you could still boost. Wow, that's quite significant actually. And we're up there at almost 200 horsepower. We've got a nice wide turbo band. The torque curve is pretty reasonable. We hit our peak RPMs at 6,900, and then we have plenty of room at the top end of the band to push a little further before we shift gears. Bring the exhaust down. There we go. Oh, that's a decrease. Helping the lower end some. We'll leave it at 38.1. Now I'm going to drop the compression and advance the timing. That help or hurt? That's a pretty significant help actually. Drop the compression, advance the timing. Oh yeah, that's a big help. Drop the compression, advance the timing. Drop, advance. Now look at how much of an improvement that is in the high end. Low end suffering just a little bit, but not badly. Do another one. Yeah, that's huge. 143. And I think we're at about peak there. We're not seeing much change in the power curve. Not seeing much change in the stats. We'll go ahead and do it one more, just to prove that to myself. 2, 3, 4. Oh, so that is a bit of an improvement. That's some pretty advanced timing. That's starting to hurt it. Where we'll go, 202. Don't want to squeeze it down, and going up we lose some of the scavenging effect. Decibels are amazingly quiet. For the intercooler, yeah, it's optimized for the 247 now. Go up a couple. Yeah. No benefits to adjusting anything. That's about where it needs to be. If I boost it, see I'll get a warning. Oh, the engine's knocking, that's why. But we get a decrease in reliability as you boost past 10 psi for that DCOE. And I don't use a triple carb because that also reduces reliability and actually doesn't help too much because our intakes are not maxed out. Alright, here we go. Yeah, that's a race engine. That sounds beautiful. I like it. Alright, we're going to call this one a B4 for boxer. Aluminum, 78 by 73, 4 valve, dual overhead cam. It's going to take forever to make this thing. It's 14, 1.4 liter, experimental, turbo, carbureted at 202 horsepower. Alright, back to the car itself. Which, looking at the time, that puts us at right at the end of the episode again. See if I can do the morphs, at least. That's just in and out. That's just in and out. The door to be reasonably sized. Ooh. Put kind of a sport rear on it. Maybe straight vertical. A little bit of a lip there. Oh ho ho. Ooh. As we break the morph. Move it forward. Does that make it impossible to fit the engine in? Nope. Longitudinal rear-wheel drive. Perfect. Yeah, that breaks the morphs if I go back too far. Do want it aggressively sloped. Yeah, we don't need that big a front. The curved hood. We square it off a little bit. Not fully squared, but we'll slope it in. Make it about as big as the back. And there we go. I think that's what we're going to start with at the start of the next episode. Thank you for staying till the end. Let me know what you think. Leave your comments below. And I will see you next time. Take care.